Hi, this is Mike Hersey and welcome to another episode of Starting an Online Business. So I did mention in a previous video that I was going to be using a content management system called WordPress. And some of you may wonder what a content management system is because it sounds like such a vague, meaningless term. So I'm going to use I'm going to show you one called Joomla that I've used on a few websites because I'm already familiar with it. And hopefully that will give you an idea. So if we look first of all at the front page of this, sorry, this isn't the front page here, let me go to the front page. I created this website for just as a general depository for articles I'd written. I didn't take a lot of time over how it's going to look, but this is the style, sort of yellow on grey. That's actually fairly readable. But if you go back to original websites, there were HTML pages, so they were fairly simple. You'd have your article, and then you'd have some HTML that described how it was going to look, and then you might have some links to other pages and so on like this, and that was fairly straightforward. But the problem is, as soon as you start to get more than a certain number of pages, or you start updating things fairly frequently, it then becomes very unmanageable because if you've got, say, if we look here, for example, we've got a list of, these are what's called featured articles. These are ones that I'm featuring at on the front page of the website. Now, each time I add a new one, it goes to the top of the list. But if that was going to happen, if I was going to have to do that manually, I would have to not only create the new page that's got a new article, but I also have to go to the front page and shift everything down and put in the beginning text of the new article and the links and so on. And I have to maintain that as well. Plus, if I've got a menu system that's got different categories and the article's in a particular category, I've then got to update those links so that when you get to a category, it then shows you the new article I've just created as well as all the other ones. So that becomes hard work. So the content management system is essentially a framework into which your content fits, and it does a lot of the work for you. So for example, if we have a look here at this article, this got a picture of Rupert Murdoch, okay? You see here we've got some little picture and we've got some text. Then we've got a read more. So if I click on that, it'll then take me to the whole article. I've also got a comment. That will take me straight to the comments that someone's added. That immediately gives you a clue, by the way, as to one way in which it can save you time, because you don't have to manually add each comment that someone wants to add. And it also tells you when it was created and so on like this. So let's click on read more. Okay, what we've got here then, so now here's the bit that the top of the article, and here's the rest of it. So now it's displaying the rest of it, just this article on its own, and here we've got the comment that someone added at the bottom. Okay, now if we go and have a look behind the scenes to see what we've got going on, so if I go into the back end, now with websites you can consider really that you've got a front end and a back end. So with any normal physical shop, you've got the front door where customers go in, and you've got the tradesman's entrance where all the goods come in and you adjust the prices of things and where you store spare things and stuff like that. Well, on a website you haven't got physical things as such, but the back entrance is where you go to make changes to the website. So, that's all password protected, so no one else can get in. So here, for example, we've got a list of categories for articles that I've created. So I've got top level categories of uncategorized, development, and under that I've got business training and personal development. Then I've got other musings, and under that I've got sociology, science and technology. Okay, and so any article I create, it can be, or it has to be assigned to one of these categories, so that then if I select a category, that article will then be displayed as one of the available ones. Okay, so the point is I can create these categories myself. I can add to the list and so on. I can't delete a category if it's got articles pointing to it. Now, if I go to the articles themselves, you can see here this has got all the articles for this website. It's not that many. But if I go to that Rupert Murdoch article there, you can see that it's got the tick means it's published and is current. The asterisk means it's a featured article, so that means it will go onto the list available on the front page and will automatically get shuffled down when I add new ones at the top. And I could actually decide to remove that article just by selecting it, and at the top selecting unpublish, okay, and clicking that, and it would then remove it. So what that means is the next time anyone tried to either look at that article by putting in the direct link, it would not be available, or if they looked at, say, the category of article that is in, that would not be listed. I could also make it a non-featured article. And you can see here, in fact, I can change which articles are featured or unfeatured just by selecting them and clicking on feature or unfeature. And it also says who created it and so on. Something that's important to bear in mind about content management systems is they're often designed for multiple people to use them. So a really big online journal, let's say a newspaper, for example, it might have multiple people actually using it at the same time instead of editing, in terms of editing documents behind the scenes. So you might have different people who allocated to different areas like sports, weather, finance, for example, and they each might have the authority to create articles in a particular category. So if we actually edit this then, and we'll see a few things here. Okay, so now we've got the actual content, and we can see we've got a nice screen which is like a kind of normal word processing screen, so which help us create attractive looking content. Now this red dotted line here, what that means is this is where my read more goes. So if I want to have a beginning section that will be displayed as a list of, with the title of the article, like the introduction if you like, and then you have the rest of the article. If I have this read more line here, everything after this is the main body that will only show when someone actually goes to click on to read the whole article rather than just seeing it in a list. So we've got the article there. Now let's look at some of the other things. If we look at these headings along the top here, we can see we've got different options to select. So we're on content at the moment, and we've got the status of published, which category it's in. See, I could move an article from one category to another simply by selecting another category from this drop-down list, from the list I'd already created. How easy is that? And it will automatically change it for every time anyone subsequently accesses anything. And that's on the website, that is. Who can have access to it? Now here, for example, now here's where I originally set the featured status. Now the public means anybody who gets to the website can see it. Registered means people who have registered as users and have logged in. And special, that will be people that have been assigned a particular status. So you could have some articles there that are only for people that have, let's say, paid a membership fee or something like that. It doesn't automatically handle memberships, at least not this particular, without extra modules, but it's the kind of thing you can do. What language it's in and other tags, any notes and so on like this. So this is all content. By the way, this also shows us at the bottom how many visitors are on the website, one administrator logged in, and there's no messages for me at the moment. Now if I look at other options, now here we've got things like whether or not to show the intro text for this, or whether to use a global settings, because you can define things at a global level that will apply to every article, which you can then override at a lower level if you wanted to for a particular article. Whether it will show which category it is and so on like this. If we look at publishing, this is interesting because we can see here start publishing 21st of July 2011. Okay, but I could change that. So for example, if let's suppose I'm a blogger and I want to, I've got say 10,000 people that read my blogs, and I want to go away on holiday for 3 weeks, and I don't want to have to be writing articles while I'm away. I might want to do it when I come back, but not while I'm away. I might write 3 articles in advance, and I might give each of them different start publishing dates. So they would automatically appear with no further action required on my part when that particular date and time was passed. So that's quite handy. The other thing is you've got a finishing publishing date here. Now that's empty because I want it to continue being available, but I could, if it say, let's supposing it's about a competition entry or something like that, and I only want it available, up to the point when you can still send in your competition entry, I might put there the date and time the entry for the competition closes, so that once that's passed, no one will ever see it again. It also says when it's created, who it's created by, and an A-list that goes on the website. When it's been modified, how many times it's been modified, and I can't alter that because that's automatically set. And how many people have read it, that's 8,400. And other things like description and keywords and so on like this, which may be helpful for search engines. We've also got stuff on editing, the configuring the edit screen, whether it shows publishing options or not. Now, I could set global options for this, so it may be that someone is allowed to edit things but not publish them. It may only be, for example, sub-editors that are allowed to decide things can be published. And permissions. So again, here we've got we've got types of users here. Manager, we've got the general public, manager, administrator, registered users, authors, editors, and publishers, and super users. Well, okay, well, I'm a super user. The public, for example, is not allowed to either edit, delete, or edit the state of an article. And it says not allowed, okay? A manager is allowed to, so is an administrator. Registered users not allowed to. And neither is an author. An editor is allowed to edit, but not delete or change the status. And a publisher here is allowed not to delete, but allowed to edit or edit the state. So you've got a really fine degree of control over who can do what. If you've got a really large website with lots of people creating content, and you can see why it would be so valuable in that situation. Okay, so I hope that begins to give you an idea of what a content management system can do behind the scenes. Now, other things you can do, you can define the whole look of the whole website by choosing a template. So we can see here that we've got this particular style, which I created that, but I've also got some other, there's some existing templates here. Let's go back, let's close that. So I haven't edited anything anyway. And let's go back to, extensions, template, styles. Okay. Now, there are some templates that come with this. Now, you can see here, Emergent Wisdom Dark 10, that's the default one. Default for all pages, okay? Now, I could change that to, let's say, Protostar. And I just need to change that to default. Okay. So now, that's for the Protostar default. Yeah, okay, so that's default for all pages. So now if I refresh this website, let's go back here and okay, now you see immediately the style has completely and utterly changed. So the whole layout and everything, that's because this template has been defined differently. It's 2 columns. We've got column there and a column on the right, but there's no description. We've just got the name of the website, and everything looks completely and utterly different. I didn't have to do anything for that. That was simply me changing from one template with one layout, one design if you like, to another. And so it's quite quick to change different things and maybe have different variations to see how things look. And so if you've got several templates, you can go through them and see which one you think is most attractive. So I'm going to change that back to Emergent Wisdom Dark 10. Okay, now that's the default, so let's go back to here, refresh that page, and we've got the the style that I created before with the content I wanted. Okay, so I hope that gives you a bit more of a flavour of why you need a content management system, because especially if you've got a significant amount of content, it makes it much easier to manage. But even if you haven't got a huge amount of content, but having styles that are predefined, it makes it easy to get everything the same look and to have all the links managed for you. That's the thing. It just takes so much of the headache away out of managing a website. So I hope you find that useful. I hope it now makes more sense. So if you see the word content management system, it's just not meaningless for you anymore. The other thing about it is, what's really great is that some of the major content management systems are surprisingly completely free. So WordPress is free, Joomla is free, Drupal is free as well, and I think there's 1 or 2 others that have a significant number of websites. So, and there's an active team of people constantly updating these, and it really is a fantastic piece of software that you can get for free. So that's why you should be using a content management system for your website.